everyone, it's Bryan Caplan here with the Bigger, Better Biz community, where I equip you with the tools and know-how to grow that bigger, better small business. I'm joined by Sebastian from Viral Music. Sebastian, how are you doing today?
Everything great, Brian. Thanks for having me
Wonderful.
here.
Now, you hear viral music, and I think of like viral videos, right, on YouTube. What do you do at Viral Music? Explain a little bit for everyone watching.
Well, we're a collective of film composers, mainly renowned artists all over the world. We are a big group or team. You we have like 30 plus or 40 composers from
Wow.
Indonesia to Uruguay to Portugal to Austin. And we create tailor-made music for media. Uh, any audiovisuals like film, TV, documentaries, advertising campaigns, and we, build relationships with our clients. So we get kind of, you know, we get the storytelling of any project, and we try to translate that into emotion through music, and we use kind of the power of music to connect with the audiences. And if it's a story or a product or a film, we kind of try to tell the story throughout the music.
Which is so powerful because you can just watch a clip that's shot on an iPhone and you're like, but once you start adding a little bit of music or some effects to it, it just takes a life of its own. So
yeah, of course.
And I love how even on the site, we are storytellers. You're taking that, you're turning into something that people can connect and relate to because of that strong bond with music. I love what you're doing because I love the collaborative that you're creating. And I also, as I was kind of going through the site, which we're going to look at too, I like the idea that you have different composers, different experts from different areas of the world so that you can play to those cultures as well, because obviously music is cultural and colloquial. So I really like that. So why don't we'll jump into the site, and we're going to look at your cool site. So you've got, what is this built on? What platform?
It's Webflow.
Okay, Webflow. Got it. Yeah, that's new. That's an up and coming one. I've seen a lot of people using it. You have obviously the value prop music tailor-made worldwide. We've got the nav menu up at the top, about services, work contact. And obviously we're looking cutting edge. Like we're saying, we're playing with that whole viral thing. So I love this approach. One thing that I noticed right away is that there's no call to action. So first thing I'd want to do is add in some call to action, whether it's right between this kind of your logo and then the little headlines here, something telling them what to do. Start here, view our portfolio, schedule a consultation, join our mailing list, which we'll talk about. But I want to have, like, whatever your goal is when people come to this site, I want you to have it right here, front and center.
Okay. So
Yep. It's just going to be easy because, I mean, you think about it, we're all overstimulated. Whether you look at the devices we have, the sites we look at, the TV, you have the personal assistants and the voice assistants that are telling us and dinging and everything. It's just too much. So for people, if they're not told now, a consumer isn't told what to do, then you've lost them already.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's one. And also the other thing too is I would have, like, you have about services, work contact. I would have a get started tab or get started link, right? Meet us, get started right up here at the top. And that way, at least, because some people are trained to look up at the top nav menu. Some people might look at the call to action right here, but at least we're giving them two places where we're going to get them into that kind of adventure that process we want them to take.
So the get started should be the same call to action or something different?
It could be totally different. You could have get started up at the top, and then you could have view our portfolio or schedule a consultation or learn about our process, because I know you have the process. So maybe it's a page where you talk about the process, and that gets into kind of like building a landing page or a secondary page. having a couple videos. Here's the process. Hey, sign up for a consultation or sign up for a meeting with us.
Okay.
So now we're just
Sounds
getting
good,
them
yeah.
right into where we want them. We're telling them what to do, and kind of, I hate to say it, but you're herding people where you need them to go, right?
Yeah, no, I imagine it could be kind of a case study or how we work, with a client, and then, at the
Yes.
bottom, it's like, this is how we
Oh,
work. If you like it, you can.
here's one for you. Here's a really good one for you. So I would take all the video content that you have, strip out the sound. If you can, strip out the audio that you created, and then show before and afters,
Yeah.
and just show
Yeah, that's
the
what I do
layer.
for
Yeah.
presentations at
Yeah.
agencies. So
Yep.
yeah.
Take a couple of those, put it into a video, pop it on Vimeo or YouTube, and then embed that baby in here so that people can now see, like, wow, they really add a lot of complexity and personality to the content.
Yeah. Awesome.
And then, and the other thing too is when you're building a site, what you're seeing right here, and Webflow does a good job of it, this is called above the fold or above the scroll line, right? And basically, we're counting on people doing something above the scroll line. Every time someone has to scroll down, we're giving them one more opportunity to not scroll down, but to click X and get out. So we've got to get right to the point. And then as we go down, okay, we are viral, we're a collective world renowned. So you've got that. And it's big text, which is totally fine, but that's why we are viral. Okay, what do I do? So again, when I'm thinking of a homepage, I'm thinking of, we have a main thing we want them to do, whether it's that case study or the landing page we were just talking about, whatever. I want a button here. I want something here. And then as I scroll down, I see this info. Great. Okay. You know what? That's nice. Maybe someone just needs to read those paragraphs and now they want to act. So we got to give them the chance to act. And then as we scroll down, featured work. Okay. I know I can look at your ads, film, and TV. Really cool. And then I can view more. We are viral, which I love. You're staying true to that. But again, okay, view more. I'm brought to this page. Fine. Portfolio page. And I actually was clicking through and watching some of these. But again, what do? So yeah. It's almost like, communication process. We talk about open loop and closed loop. Open loop is like, hey, yeah, what do you think of the weather today? And then it's just kind of open. Or, hey, the weather's really cold today, especially up here in New England. I'm guessing it's cold in New York too. Click this button to buy a hat. So we're telling them what to do. We're just closing that loop. That in the same regard, we want to have a button here and at the bottom of any page or somewhere on the page where we can get them to act once they've seen our work and we've sold them.
Okay, and you say every single section should have that too? I mean, like, for example, here in the no, but I mean in the homepage.
On the homepage, sure. Let me go back to the homepage.
Yeah, on the homepage, like, for example, here, I don't know, like you said, yeah, they already know about us. And
so 2 ways you can do it, right? One is you can do buttons, and of course buttons work because we know we press it and it does something. The other one too that you want to do, like you have here, music and sound, and I see that it's highlighted, but it's not a link.
Yeah, and a hyperlink, yeah.
So what I would do is I would actually do create tailor-made music and sound. I would make that a link, and then I would have it go to a page that's all about tailor-made music and sound. So Google, when we're talking about like how to make Google work for us, Google sees that the page is called viral music. It sees that you're talking about viral music and your composers, so on and so forth. But it also needs to see these links in between your pages, or it needs to see the content that you post up on YouTube or Vimeo so that it can reinforce that this is a page about music and about composers. So the more links you have, the better. Not like you every word, but in a couple paragraphs, maybe one hyperlink. And this is a good opportunity right here, especially because this stands out with that yellow. So I would make that a link.
Yeah, I see.
And then down below, a button, right? And then scroll down so we can sort the gallery, gives us ads, film, TV. Fine. And I know I can click on those. View more is fine, but I think maybe add another button like get started right next to it. Ready to get started? ? Or just get started, or contact us, whatever you want to use. You can use different calls to action, but I would have that right here too. And then scrolling down, I love these graphics. I love your icons. Connection, commitment, collaboration, the 3 C's. Beautiful, our values, customization, and quality. And then we've got say, bonjour, hello, ciao, hola. But again, how do we get started with you? Right? And here, get in touch, which opens up this shadow box or this pop-up that gives me, okay, I can give you my name, my email, my phone. Okay. Join the team. Okay. So that's where you're trying to grow. Love it. And then if I scroll back down, and then you can join the mailing list. And then we have all the social media. So a note about social, is this the order of priority? Like, do you focus mainly on Insta and then Facebook, then Twitter, then LinkedIn?
No, actually, it should be LinkedIn, Insta, Facebook, and Twitter. Actually, yeah.
Quick change there. But I see this all the time where the website, like Webflow in this case, the web builder, just kind of puts those options, but just do a rearrange so that they know what the priority is too.
Okay.
And where you're going to be most active.
Yeah.
So let's just look at a couple things. One, I'm going to jump to your form. How many, do you get any form submissions right now? Or do you, how many? No,
not really.
So I would say part of it is this form, because it's this pop-up, right? It's not bringing me to a contact us page. One thing is people might have a pop-up blocker on, depending on their settings. So it's always a best practice to direct them to either a contact page, which is, it looks like.
No, the contact page, I mean, that link is actually this.
It just brings us down to this part.
This section, yeah.
Got it. Okay. So what I would say is, let's, instead of using this get in touch, just put the form in here. And with the form, best practice, never consolidate first name and last name. Reason being, we're going to talk about email marketing in a second. When we send emails, if we collect their first name and their last name separately, then we can personalize the email. So it says, hi, Sebastian, right? Instead of, hi, Bryan Caplan. Then it's like, okay, you pulled it from a database.
Okay.
So,
I see.
Yep, separate those two. Email's fine. Phone number, that's fine. And then how can we help you? So with a form, you can do up to 5 fields. It's usually like, that's the most, right? Anything more than that, you feel like you're in a waiting room at a doctor's office, filling out those like 3 sheets in the HIPAA, right? So instead, I would do first name, last name, that counts as 1. Email, phone. How can we help you? You could do that, but most people are going to be sitting there like, I don't know. I would almost say maybe you just have some options, like a radio button or a drop down. Hey, tell us about your project. It's video, it's, TV, it's an ad. What are you interested in?
Yeah,
right?
smart.
Make it as simple as possible for someone to fill out the form. If they have to think, like right here, people just get locked up and they're like, you know what, I'll do this later. And later is a well-intentioned never. So
tell us about your project. Which media?
Exactly. Tell us about your project, and then, hey, is there anything else we should know? And then they can write in if they want to, and that way it's not, you don't have to make that mandatory. Without seeing analytics or anything, I'm just curious if people come in, they fill this out, and then they get here and like, forget it, and they just X out, and they say they'll do it later. The joiner team, totally cool. The mailing list. So we'll talk about email. How big is your list? Just a guesstimate.
I would say around like 20, 30,000.
Okay, awesome. So 20, 30,000 people. And these are, how did you acquire the emails? Were they just interested in working with you? Or they past clients from a club or consortium or collective? What was it?
Everything.
Everything. So it's a giant mass.
And a giant mass. A lot of most of my leads come from LinkedIn.
Okay.
As well. So I mean, that's the platform I use over the past 10 years to build the network, to build relationships, and kind of show a more professional profile. So that's another kind of, I wouldn't say niche, but somewhere I can grow my network, or
Yeah. So with the emails, since you have them coming from different areas, and some of them it might be collaborators or potential composers, team members, others would be clients, do you have them segmented out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mainly, and I took the kind of the time to know where they work, their position, where they're located. So
Gotcha.
again, to get more personal. I found, for example, kind of the first thing I did when I launched the company this year, because it's a new kind of
Felicidades.
venture. Yeah, thank you. Gracias. So one thing that I found, and I, hit a wall, a brick wall, that it was kind of devastating, because I created obviously the domain and everything, and the new email, which was more professional instead of at gmail.com.
Yep.
And I started sending all these personalized messages, which ended up in my domain being flagged as spam. So, because of two things. One, because I obviously, again, I don't have the entrepreneur or the IT or the developer or whatever it is that you have to know things about how internet and the DNS and all that works, which I didn't have all the SPIF and the DKIMs and all that. And so I was flagged. I had to get another domain and start from scratch, and someone recommended using those massive email marketing emails, because they're kind of whitelisted, or whatever you call it. So
and you were basically, you had your personal email, and then you were sending out, whether it was one-to-one or a mass of like BCC emails or whatever, telling people, which a lot of business owners do. And I did it when I started in 2008. I started 2 t-shirt companies right after graduating college, and I was using Gmail. I thought that I was putting in the lines, and then I would like insert an image, and I was like, oh, this looks so beautiful. The only way that I knew that it wasn't working is because my mom called me. She's like, I love the email you just sent with all those attachments. They're wonderful. And I'm like, what the? So a lot of business owners who haven't learned about, or just don't have the bandwidth to start doing email marketing using a tool like MailChimp, Constant Contact, Activecampaign, as you said, Sendinblue, all of those. The big difference is when you're sending from a personal email address, whether it's one-to-one, but you're sending out tens or hundreds of emails a day, what happens is those other email providers, AOL, Yahoo, Gmail, they start looking at, okay, is this inbox sending out personal emails, or are they sending out business emails en masse and taking advantage of the system? And that's where you probably got on the radar, especially if you were doing like BCC and you were sending to the max of 50 people or whatever.
No. I actually was very personalized. It was one-on-one, because I used, for example, Thunderbird in the past with a mail merge, but I didn't like that it was the same thread for the 50 emails that you sent. So I didn't have the conversation separated. Kind of, I had to book them into, I don't know, the New York contacts. But again, it was difficult to to keep the thread,
to keep track of. So definitely, where you have a big list, what email platform are you using, or are you looking at?
I use as my personal email. I mean, the email platform that I use to send everything is the G Suite. I mean, it's a Google Workspace.
Yep.
Because I had my gmail.com email and all the folders and everything. I was all set up since 2000, I don't know, 10 or something like that, where I kind of transfer all my contacts, and I created the Gmail account. So I didn't want to lose that. So I kind of migrated everything into Workspace with the domain, the new domain, the biomusic domain, and everything else.
Gotcha. So I would suggest for you, I mean, if you're, it all depends on budget and what you have in your marketing budget. But if I would say with a list like that, you really want to start cultivating it. And that would be either using a tool like Constant Contact, which is more of an entry level. It's pretty simple to use, drag and drop editor, much like Webflow.
Yeah.
Comparable prices to MailChimp, except what I've found is better support because MailChimp is all automated support. So if you do have an issue, you're waiting 24, 48 hours for someone to get back to you. There's also Activecampaign, which we use quite a bit. And Activecampaign is kind of like, if you're looking at different levels, MailChimp, Constant Contact are entry level. You know, for most small businesses, they're just fine. They have automation and everything. Activecampaign has automation, it has landing pages, it's building in just a lot more robustness. Still pretty easy to use once you get through the training, which isn't that hard, and a lot of really cool automation stuff, action-based, time-based. You can send people into different workflows and stuff. You can get as creative as you want. And then the third tier is like those HubSpots, Marketos, Pardots of the world, where big enterprises are using them, and they're charging buku bucks a month. So different options for you, but I can send you that. And then with regards to using Gmail and Google Workspace, there's another tool I'll send you. I got to find it, that actually has that same kind of mail merge thing, but it does create separate emails for each one. So you have a chain with each person.
Yeah, I was using, I think it's called MailTrack.
Okay.
For,
I've heard of MailTrack. Yep.
Tracking, who opens the email, so I don't kind of resend. It's kind of, okay, I already saw this is a spam, or this guy is kind of too pushy.
That's going away too. So it's Yesware that I use, but there's MailTrack, Sidekick, Yesware. There's a whole bunch of them. But since Apple made that big push and said, no, if users decide that they don't want to show that they opened, they don't want you to track opens, basically the whole consumer rights privacy. That kind of does away with that whole functionality. Like, you're going to get some people that open, but the only way you're really going to know if they interact is if they click, which is where email is headed. It's all about.
But the Apple is a feature, or whatever you call it.
It's a feature. It's not default.
Okay, it's a feature that it's for any email service, or just for me.com or Apple, or
most people that have an iPhone or that have a MacBook or a Mac, they're probably using Mail, so it's a feature built into Mail.
Oh, into Mail. Okay, so it's the device, not the server.
And where the majority of the market has an Apple device or computer.
Yeah,
that's where they get to turn it off. But again, it's not just about opens too. And with email marketing, it's opens if we can track them, but it's clicks. And then it's getting them to a page like we talked about. Like, I think hands down, you would win if you could put together a before and after, and then have a really quick, here's the process, here's how to get started, fill out the form. That would be a really good landing page that you can start testing out and see, what elements work to get conversions. The other thing too is, so we've got, like if I click on contact, so it's based on this idea of single page. We're going down, it's an anchor that brings us down to this section. And we've got the join our mailing list. With the join our mailing list, this is something where, of course, it's going to feed into whatever email program you have or a spreadsheet or whatever. But there are also tools where, imagine you have a bar at the top or a bar that comes up from the bottom, where you're talking to calls to action, where you're offering something, whether it's exclusive access to a library of royalty-free songs that they can use that were created by Viral Music, and it brings them to a playlist on YouTube, or it brings them to a page that you don't have listed here, something where they have to sign up, give you their first name and email. Always try to collect first names so you can personalize. So first name, email, and then those tools that I told you about, Constant Contact would send out an email. Activecampaign would send out an email automatically, and it keeps track of everything. So that might be
I was thinking of that, because today everything is about
instant gratification.
Giving something to get something. So
that's it. And there are a lot of people, a lot of small business owners now. There's a huge wave, an influx of video creators. I mean, we're seeing the creator economy just balloon. It's going to grow huge in the next 2 years. But there's also business owners are realizing they have to. start creating video to compete and get and be relevant. So they're always looking for music. So that's something where right away, if you have some throwaway songs, you have some old stuff, some tracks, put it together into a playlist. That's a great way to get people looking at the brand. You put it onto your YouTube channel and just offer it as royalty free. You can ask them to do attribution if you want, or you can just say here for everyone. And then you're just getting views and building up the viral music brand.
Yeah, that would be a good way to start.
Yeah.
Getting more attention or awareness. Yeah.
And it's also something where if we're talking about email and we're getting people to sign up for the list, okay, maybe they start by signing up for, okay, here's, 5 free tracks you can use, or here's access to a library, whatever it is. But then those emails that we send out as well, the other thing is, how do we give them value? We don't just want to be like, hey, here's the project we just did, because everybody diminishing returns are going to be like, oh, that's great, Sebastian. Okay, the second one, oh, wonderful. Third one, I don't need to see this anymore. So instead, how can we add in value? Is there something we can teach? Theory of music, or how we would, if we're presented with a certain project, how we think about it, how we can tell the story or make the music, a certain sound effect or something. People like to know even the granular things that might be a 15 or 30-second video, but it demonstrates your thought leadership and expertise. So that could be a constant video that you send out in each email. It might be a featured project. It might be giveaways again, whether it's a resource library. Here's how to find royalty-free music around the web. Here's some tracks that we offer. Here's something that we did, so you just kind of weaving in your products and your service into this kind of general, like you said, you have to give to get. But that's something to
consider. Because I also need to think about how to maintain those leads, or how to create content or send campaigns after, which is kind of the, I don't know how, I think you call it drip or something like that.
It's either drip, where you set it up right away at the beginning and then you just have it dripping, or it's you're pulling the trigger, or you're scheduling. So you're sitting down on a Sunday, you're having cafe and you're just kind of making some emails, and then you schedule them out for the next few weeks. Either way, the way that I like to do it is a hybrid model. So I look at it as, one, we need a welcome email. So first off, we need an incentive for them to join, because just saying join the list, no one's going to do it, because they're so desensitized. So what value, what's in it for them? Then once they sign up, they've got to get the instant welcome email for that instant gratification with whatever resource we promise them. On that email, we're also going to plan out or set expectations. Here's what you can expect. We're going to send you a series of 3 or 4 emails so you can better understand our approach to creating music and telling stories in these videos. And then we've got those emails set up. So you do that. That's kind of like the Ron Popeil, set it and forget it. Don't have to worry about it. But then that's where the other part of it takes over, where you're going to be creating bi-weekly or a monthly email so that you can keep viral music in front of them in the inbox.
Yeah. I need to be consistent, but not too pushy, and
not too pushy. And on that note, I mean, I've had people that are sending 3, 4, 5 emails a week, and it's being well received, because they're adding. Okay. Yeah. So it's one of the dilemmas for an entrepreneur, especially like someone like you, who's you're learning as you go. You think, a lot of us think like, okay, I get emails all the time. I don't want to send emails to people because I don't want to bug them. I don't want to impose. But really, if you think about it, the average person is getting 75 plus emails a day, including the ones that go into their promotions or their spam. So they have to sift through those. Plus, like I was talking about at the beginning, all of these different stimuli. So if you think about that and you kind of back up, let's say that they get 100 emails a day, they're getting on average 3,000 emails a month. So if you're sending 1 email a month, are you really standing out? Right. So it is a frequency game, but it's, of course, it's not like I'm going to send you every hour, but if I have something.
Yeah. Or the same content.
Yeah. The same content. That's taboo. That's a faux pas. Yeah. For sure. Yeah. But you have a better idea there. And I think for you, once you really build out that email program and you've got people coming in. So you have new life generating, you're sharing the stuff on LinkedIn and saying, sign up or grab this new offer, whatever we have. And then you're starting to build. That's where you start inserting promotions, or you're getting, you're trying to get people, you're building that lead gen that you were talking about.
Yeah.
So, looking at the context of your situation, you sent out through a personal workspace or Gmail account, you got burned, you basically got flagged and all of that. So right away, you basically got all of the bad stuff out of the way, which is good. So you can only grow upwards from here. And if you start using an email marketing platform, because they have the relationships with the AOLs and Gmails and Yahoos of the world. So right? I'd say one of the things is, depending on what tool you use, they have the ability where when people sign up, so on your contact form, let's say that they're interested in, ads, film, TV, or a special project, whatever, you can segment them as you've already started doing, but you also have the ability where they can go and they can update their subscription preferences, so they could take themselves off of certain emails. So now they self-qualify and remove, so that you're not inundating them with tons of stuff that's not relevant to them. Okay, and that's a great option to offer, instead of having people unsubscribe, of course. But it's something you can explore too. And that way you're being sensitive. And then, especially since you're growing a multicultural collaborative, you're dealing with all different kinds of expectations and approaches to communication. So I think over time, you'll see it evolve quite a bit.
Great. Awesome. Yeah. Thanks so much for your time.
My pleasure. Bryan. This was helpful for you?
Yeah. Super.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Amazing. Well, muchísimas gracias por tu tiempo también.
Gracias.
Fue placer. Estudié en la universidad, pero hace 7-8 años. So
hablas muy bien.
I'm a little off, a little rusty, if you will.
Need to practice, but
I know.
But your accent is pretty good.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. So, hey, everyone watching, you are welcome to apply for a Blueprint strategy session. And you can do so by going to bryancaplan.com/blueprint. And in the meantime, I want you to consider joining the channel and subscribing on YouTube. Click that bell so that you see more videos like this in your inbox. And Sebastian, I want to thank you for your time. I hope that you enjoy tomorrow's Grow with Google session, and hopefully we can work together soon enough.